Welcome back to Capital Conservatives. Senator John Kennedy challenges banking leaders on raising deposit insurance limits. It's a mix of comedy and ideology, highlighting big banks' power. Senator Kennedy gets straight to the point. He asks Mr. Rice if the deposit limit should be raised to $20 million for payroll accounts. Rice says yes. Harrison agrees it could help, but Mr. Kelly dodges, saying it needs more study. Kennedy jokes with Podsiadly, but still gets no number. No one will commit.
Senator Kennedy.
Mr. Rice, you think we ought to raise the deposit limit to $20 million, right?
And that's for payroll accounts, sir. Yes.
And Mr. Harrison, you agree with that?
I think that'd be helpful, yes, Senator.
Mr. Kelly, how about you?
The recommendations we put forth, Senator Kennedy.
Just give me a number if you would.
I don't have a number. Our recommendation is it needs to be studied and empirically based.
Okay. Mr. Podsiadly?
Yeah, thank you, sir.
My colleagues are impressed that I can pronounce it.
I'm very well done.
I'm kind of impressed myself.
I used to get a lot of starts with a P going in my undergraduate and high school.
All right. I'll call you Scooter. How,
I'll take that as
give me a number.
I would agree with Mr. Kelly that it needs to be empirically based and that.
Come on, guys. I know it ought to be empirically based.
Okay, well, I'll say this. The one concern that I do
work
have,
at FDIC. Give me a number.
Yeah, well, the one concern I have is some institution loading up on a significant number of $20 million deposits that then ultimately.
So if you don't like 20, give me a number.
I don't have one off the top.
You're not going to give me a number.
Kennedy doesn't let up. He points out banks will have to pay for higher deposit insurance. Kelly isn't sure who'll push back. Harrison says smaller banks might resist, but big banks won't like it. Kennedy presses again, but the answers stay vague, like seeing politicians grill banking elites. Subscribe for more from Capital Conservatives.
Mr. Kelly, who's going to push back among the banking community?
Senator Kennedy, I'm not sure who will push back on that.
All right, Mr. Harrison?
I think there's some smaller banks that will feel they don't need it. Their deposit accounts aren't that large, and they would be, not as willing to do that. I think some of the banks that currently have coverage for free will likely push back.
Some of the what?
Some
larger
of the banks that have implicit coverage
some of the larger
for
banks?
free. Generally, the larger
Some of the larger banks?
That is correct.
So you think the larger banks will oppose it?
I don't think they'll support it. I don't know if they will oppose it.
How about you, Scooter?
I love the new nickname. I will take that as a warm regard. But
It is.
I would say that my bigger concern is the aggregation of deposits.
Who's going to push back?
I don't know that you would have any institution that would push back other than as
Everybody be happy.
well. It depends on what the cost is, right?
Kennedy keeps pressing. Who's going to push back? Rice finally admits. The big banks. Kennedy points out they're not here. The big banks? They're banking on bailouts. They enjoy an implicit guarantee. Kennedy makes the hypocrisy clear. A panelist tries to soften things, explaining his experience and expertise. Kennedy cuts in. I understand you're a smart man, but you're telling me we've got a problem. We're not going to solve it by pondering our navels. He demands a real solution. Set a number, index it, make banks pay, not taxpayers.
Mr. Rice, who's going to push back?
Not our 144 million members, sir. They'd be delighted that their paychecks are guaranteed.
Who's going to push back, though?
The bankers, sir, the large banks.
The large bank.
They're not here today, and I think their silence is implicit on their stand on this.
Okay. So here's what I hear you saying. 20 million indexed to inflation, but the large banks are not going to like it because they have an implicit guarantee. Does anybody disagree with that? Does anybody disagree? I certainly don't with Senator Warren's assessment that the big banks don't have to worry about it because they're going to be bailed out. Anybody disagree with that? Okay.
Well, let me add a little color, Senator. I think perspective. So I led a committee. And
I'm sorry, sir?
I led a committee that included banks of all sizes.
Right.
And one of the things I learned in leading that committee is that there is a lot of complexity associated with the prudential regulatory aspect of those larger institutions. Their liquidity requirements are very different than mine at $700 million a year. And so something that I had to become sensitive to as a leader of that group. And so while we sit here...
Kelly, let me stop you. I understand. You're a smart man and you're a successful man.
Well, I appreciate the compliment.
And I appreciate that. But you're telling me here today, all of you, we've got a problem. And
correct.
We're not going to... This isn't directed toward you, sir. But we're not going to solve this problem by pondering our navels. We're going to have to come up with a number and index it to inflation. Taxpayers won't pay, the banks will pay. And then find out who's going to push back and why. I mean, that's the challenge. I understand the difficulty and the nuances and the trade-offs. I get all that.
Thank you.
and you make, I don't mean to denigrate your analysis, because you know a lot more about this than I do. But you're saying we have a problem. I'm asking how we solve it. And what I'm hearing is $20 million, index it to inflation. The larger banks are going to raise fresh hell.
Kennedy makes the stakes clear. $20 million indexed to inflation. If that happens, big banks will raise, as Kennedy says, fresh hail. Like and subscribe to Capitol Conservatives for more truth from Capitol Hill. Senator Kennedy's tough questions expose the real fight, protecting American workers or big banks. The little guys want security, the big guys want silence. Thanks for watching Capitol Conservatives. Stay tuned for more showdowns.